should knock on Santosha's door. Suresh? Why don't you knock on Santosha's door?
Santosh?
Yeah.
Krishna?
Yeah.
Is it another one? Yeah.
Yeah, he lives.
Yeah.
I'm not even clean.
Where is it?
Yes, where is everyone? I don't know.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama.
Well, there's only me, but I feel like it has to give a class for only me.
Well, it's an unspoken rule that we can't do class with only one week.
No.
Oh, Suresh is again.
No, locked.
Santosha's not there?
No.
You tried his place over here?
Yeah. Nobody.
Marcy. Well, what are you going to do? I don't have the potency to cook the offering. Why did you think he wasn't cooking? You knew that?
I had overheard, so it's hearsay, but I had overheard someone say, oh, Pokemon couldn't do it anymore because of something. But maybe they were just talking about one night event. I don't know.
Well, what to do? How about Abhinanda?
Some people have to go upstairs and
I'll
ask.
go upstairs.
He just took the left one.
I'm sorry?
Well,
But there's
Janard,
no one
he's saying that no one's
cooking the leg
cooking
offering.
in the kitchen now. I cooked for them. The little fruit offering. Balaram doesn't get back until after Thanksgiving. It's kind of, it's been quite a while. Yeah. We have such a skeleton crew. You know. I mean, honestly, the times when I went to India, one time I went, I wanted to go to the opening of Bombay. That was like a really big deal, the opening of Bombay, the first time they opened Bombay Temple. And Prabhupada was a big state because there was problems. The movies that he was Bombay. So I wanted to go, and they told me, no, we can't go, because we need to go back and do the service and stuff. So I was only there for 4 weeks. Anyway, who do I keep it?
Yes. Yes.
No, you know what it's Santosha?
Yes.
He's really cooking the life stuff.
Oh, it's supposed to be called a mama.
Oh, is it still Pavlana?
I think so, and then I think
He's on the list, but he's not there.
Oh, you mean he Santush covered for him a few times, so he probably couldn't make it, and he probably just left a message or something.
Anyway, there's nothing we can do. There's nobody here in this room who can cook it, right? I can't cook it. Can you make sure this is on? It's off. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Bhagavad Paramahansa Pradikacharya Ashtotar Tadashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Mr. Bhagavad Paramahansa Pradikacharya Ashtotar Tadashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. I think we did 16, didn't we do it, Marcy? Aham Kutu Arham Yagya. Yeah. Yeah, we did 16. Okay. On this 15th day of November 2017 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Top of page 398. We are in chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. And we are on text number 17 at the top of 398. Pitaham asya jagato Mata data pitamaha Vejam pavitram omkara Riksama yajadevacha Pitaham asya jagato Mata data pitamaha Vejam pavitram omkara Riksam yajarevacha Pitaham asya jagato Mata data pitamaha Vejam pavitram omkara Riksam yajarevacha. Go ahead, Marcy. Sorry, Parashakti. Pitaham asya jagato Mata data pitamaha Vejam pavitram omkara Riksama yajarevacha Pitahamasya jagato Mata data pitamaha Vejam pavitram omkara Riksama yajarevacha. David. I'm sorry, Mataji, did you want to? I guess not. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dave. Pitahamasya jagato Mata data pitamaha Vejam pavitram omkara Riksama yajarevacha. Pita, father, aham, I, asya, of this, jagataha, universe, mata, mother, data, supporter, pitamaha, grandfather, vejam, what is to be known, pavitram, that which purifies, omkaraha, the syllable om, rik, the Rig Veda, sama, the Sama Veda, yajahu, the Yajur Veda, eva, certainly, cha, and. Translation, I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas. Purport. The entire cosmic manifestations, moving and non-moving, are manifested by different activities of Krishna's energy. In the material existence, we create different relationships with different living entities who are nothing but Krishna's marginal energy. Under the creation of Prakriti, some of them appear as our father, mother, grandfather, creator, etc. But actually they are parts and parcels of Krishna. As such, these living entities who appear to be our father, mother, etc. are nothing but Krishna. In this verse, the word dhata means creator. Not only are our father and mother parts and parcels of Krishna, but the creator, grandmother, grandfather, etc. are also Krishna. Actually, any living entity being part and parcel of Krishna is Krishna. All the Vedas, therefore, aim only toward Krishna. Whatever we want to know through the Vedas is but a progressive step toward understanding Krishna. That subject matter which helps us purify our constitutional position is especially Krishna. Similarly, the living entity who is inquisitive to understand all Vedic principles is also part and parcel of Krishna, and as such is also Krishna. In all the Vedic mantras, the word Om, called pranava, is a transcendental sound vibration and is also Krishna. And because in all the hymns of the four Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva, the pranava or Omkar is very prominent, they are also understood to be Krishna. That's been fixed. They, meaning the Vedas, are also understood to be Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So Krishna is making a little argument here, logical argument, why there's no point in worshipping anyone but him. It all goes back to the 10th verse, where he says, Maya Jakshena Prakriti Suyase Chachadachadam. This material nature is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So Krishna is the providing the guidance, he's providing the ingredients for this material world. And then he says, but there are certain fools who deride me when I appear in human form. They don't understand my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all. And what is the result of their mentality? Mogasha, moga karmano, moga jnana vachetasa. Their hopes of those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views in that deluded condition. Their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, the culture of knowledge are all defeated. Moga means baffled or futile. On the other hand, there are the Mahatmas, the great souls who take shelter of the divine energy. The demons and the asuras take shelter and meditate on the Prakriti Mohini, the bewildering external energy. But the divine energy, that's Krishna's internal energy. That's the spiritual world. That's his Ladini Shakti personified as Srimati Radharani. So these great souls, what do? They worship me with one-pointed attention. They understand my supreme dominion over everything. They understand that I'm inexhaustible. They constantly hear and chant about me. They strive with great determination. They're always bowing down to me with devotion, and they're always linked up to me with in yoga. So that's the contrast. Then in text 15, he says, but there are others. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as one without the second, as diverse in many and in the universal form. So they're worshiping me, but indirectly. But now he says, but I am the ritual, I'm the sacrifice, I'm the offering, I'm the healing herb, I'm the chant, I'm the butter. So all of the ingredients, the goal, even the gods that you may pray to differently, for various reasons, they're all simply manifestations of Krishna. Even the impersonal Brahman that the impersonalists want to merge into and ignore Krishna or forget Krishna, that's also emanating from Krishna. So it's just a big mistake. And then in the present verse, he's chanting his glories like only he can, because he knows them better than anybody. I am the father of everyone, of this entire universe. I'm also the mother. Why? Because I provide the ingredients that I then that the living entities come into and grow up in. That's described in the 14th chapter. The point is that he's the mother, he's the father, the grandfather, and all of the knowledge in the Rig, Sama, Yajur, the Vedas, that's also coming from him, and the goal of those Vedas is knowing him. Omkar, the famous Omkar, which is so purifying, that's also a representation of Krishna. Jiva Goswami explains the esoteric meaning of Omkar. Om, 3 letters, A-U-M. The A stands for Krishna, the U stands for Radha, and the M stands for the living entity. So, our Om is also transcendental. Yes, Parashaki.
Why did we say sometimes we say Omkar, sometimes we say Akshara?
Akshara. Akshara is a word that means unified and never divisible. It's a word that's sometimes used for the supreme, even it's sometimes a quality of Krishna's. Chara and Akshara. Chara means separable. We are Chara. Let's just go to the 15th chapter. I think we'll find some enlightenment there about Akshara, Chara and Akshara. If we go to text 18. Yasmat charam atito ham aksharada pichotamaha. Top of page 611. Top of page 611. See that verse? Not yet. Yasmad chadamatito ham aksharada pichotamaha atosmi loke vedicha patita purushottamaha. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible. Now, probably because the fallible is chara, the infallible is akshara. Now, Prabhupada, he used that word fallible and infallible in a special way. It was part of Prabhupada's special vocabulary. In fact, he would even pronounce it as he meant it: fallible and infallible. In other words, Krishna is infallible. He can't fall down under the control of the material energy. We are definitely fallible. And chara generally means to be cut off. We can be cut off from Krishna artificially, but still we forget him, right? And that's called chara. But Krishna, he never falls under the material, under the control of the material. He never forgets himself. He never forgets who he is. He's always there. So that's the idea. So that which because Om is kind of a manifestation of Krishna. So in that sense, it's Akshara. It's a designation for that Om. Just like Pranava is another name. Yeah, infallible or indivisible. is another word for it. Okay, Krishna goes on. Gata Prabhu Sakshi Nivasak Shadanang Surit Prabhavak Pralayak Stanam Nidanam Bijamavyayam. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. We're on text 18 now, back in chapter 9. Purport. Gati means the destination where we want to go. But the ultimate goal is Krishna, although people do not know it. One who does not know Krishna is misled, and his so-called progressive march is either partial or hallucinatory. There are many who make as their destination different demigods, and by rigid performance of the strict respective methods, they reach different planets known as Chandraloka, Suryaloka, Indraloka, Maharloka, etc. But all such lokas or planets, being creations of Krishna, are simultaneously Krishna and not Krishna. Such planets, being manifestations of Krishna's energy, are also Krishna, but actually they serve only as a step forward for realization of Krishna. To approach the different energies of Krishna is to approach Krishna indirectly. One should directly approach Krishna, for that will save time and energy. For example, if there is a possibility of going to the top of a building by the help of an elevator, why should one go by the staircase, step by step? Everything is resting on Krishna's energy. Therefore, without Krishna's shelter, nothing can exist. Krishna is the supreme ruler because everything belongs to him and everything exists on his energy. Krishna, being situated in everyone's heart, is the supreme witness. The residences, countries, or planets on which we live are also Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate goal of shelter, and therefore one should take shelter of Krishna either for protection or for annihilation of his distress. And whenever we have to take protection, we should know that our protection must be a living force. Krishna is the supreme living entity, and since Krishna is the source of our generation, or the Supreme Father, no one can be a better friend than Krishna, nor can anyone be a better well-wisher. Krishna is the original source of creation and the ultimate rest after annihilation. Krishna is therefore the eternal cause of all causes. So I kind of get the idea that Prabhupada is putting as many Krishnas into this purport as he possibly can. And that's the idea. Krishna is covering all possible shelters we can have. He's defining himself as the goal, as the sustainer, as the Lord, as the witness, as the abode, as the refuge, as the most dear friend. So all of these elements are something that really are important for us to understand. Is if there is a witness to all our activities, then that means that we should try to conform to a certain set of morality. The idea of violating the law, or it means that you think you can get away with it. But we should know you can never get away with it, with anything. There's always that witness. Krishna is the eternal witness in the heart. So we should aspire to act in such a way that we're not violating any of the laws. When we realize that there is a strict rule going on by nature and by higher authorities, the demigods, Krishna ultimately, then as human beings, just like if you're in any kind of state, you go to a new place, you have to know the rules, the special laws that are there. Otherwise you risk violating them out of ignorance, and ignorance is no excuse. You know. So as Prabhupada would sometimes explain, just like when you get some kind of electronic thing in the mail, or you buy something, there's always a set of directions with it, so that you don't, so you use it properly. So similarly, there's a set of directions for living in this material world. And just like the directions for your new, MP3 player, is written by someone who knows because they're involved with the manufacturer, they designed it, whatever. Similarly, we should listen to the designer and creator of this universe to find out the rules and regulations so we can live here peacefully and happily and actually attain the goal of life in this world. And as Krishna explained, there's these Vedas, the Rik, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva Veda. There are those who have spoken on the basis of those Vedas, those kind of writings. There's the Vedic literature, which are the law books for teaching us how to live. And if we actually try to conform our lives to them, then we'll find ourselves living as peacefully and happily as we can in this material world. And ultimately having a hope. Just like Krishna said here, Mogasha Moga Karmano, those who deride him, who don't accept his divinity, whatever aspiration they may have is ultimately frustrated. Because all material aspirations are ultimately frustrated. But still we have to have hope. We should aspire for something. Just like we sing every morning, the Tulsi Devi. Several places in that song, unless I sing it, I don't know the word. But the word asha is there. Asha, I aspire to serve Radha and Krishna. Radha Krishna seva pava e abhilashi. That word abhilashi is different from the word asha. Asha is a noun, abhilashi is a verb. But it's the same word. I aspire, I long, I'm hoping for service to Radha Krishna. I'm hoping to be your maidservant. That's the thing. Now these kind of songs, we may sing it 100 times, but the 101st time, we actually get into the meaning, we sing from the heart, because we become more purified. And so, understanding, Krishna is saying, in these few verses, it's very clear, there's no one worthy of worship other than Krishna. If Krishna really is the father of the universe, the mother, support, the grandsire, if he's the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, then what's the point of turning our attention to anywhere else? You see. So this is what Krishna is proving here. And then in text 20, and we may reach that tonight, he starts describing the fate of those who worship others than him, the demigods. Even if you're successful, you can go to Indraloka, but eventually you come back down. So what Krishna is, the overall theme of this chapter is that I am the object of worship. And it's all culminated in the last verse. Manmana bhavaman bhakto majjaji mam namaskuru. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, bow down to me, you'll certainly come to me. This is the whole idea. And that's repeated in the 18th chapter. Any verse that's repeated, is very important. So, Prabhupada makes it very clear that everything, everywhere we look, or everything we aspire for, every shelter we want to get, every benefit we want, is ultimately coming from Krishna. So it's worthwhile to worship him. Okay, one more verse. A couple more verses. Tapamyaham maham varsham nivrikyam utsujami cha amitam chaiva mityuscha sadasatchaham arjuna. O Arjuna, I give heat, and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Purport. Krishna, by his different energies, diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During the summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky, and then during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna. And Krishna meets us at the end as death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna there is no distinction between matter and spirit, or in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one therefore makes no such distinctions. He sees only Krishna in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form comprising all material manifestations is also Krishna, and his pastimes in Vrindavan as two-handed Shama Sundar, playing on a flute, are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, a Krishna conscious person, he sees Krishna's hand everywhere. That's the idea. He doesn't think anything is happening by chance. He tries to coordinate his activities with Krishna's desire. That's what bhakti is all about. And the more that we can do that, the more peaceful we feel. Because contradicting, we're not violating our actual nature. Our nature is as Krishna explains in the 15th, Mamai Vangsha Jiva Loki. Angsha means a part and parcel, just like your hand is part and parcel of your body. And the function of the hand is to carry out my will, to serve the whole body, right? So if the hand is doing something, it can't do that, say it's paralyzed, then it's a disturbance. So similarly, the function of all the living beings, all the individual living beings, is to serve Krishna's purpose. And in that way, we become happy and peaceful and blissful. So much so we can't even imagine. But we've lost that due to our rebellious nature. We've lost that function, so we're like a paralyzed hand. Or we're a disturbance in the completely unified and peaceful atmosphere of Goloka Vrindavan. And so we were exiled here. This is our place. This Durga is like a big fort or a prison house. But it's not like, you know, the prison industrial complex where they've forgotten all about reformation, you know. But rather, this is a place where we're meant to become reformed. Krishna doesn't want us to stay here forever, you know. He wants to save us. He wants us to come back to Him. And so He provides us with knowledge, He provides us with the holy name, with so many representatives and ambassadors, and temples and the deity and all of these things, by which we can connect with Him. And purify our consciousness of this rebellious nature, which is ultimately self-defeating. It's ultimately self-defeating. We can never die, we will never die, but we can prolong our stay in this world indefinitely. You know, to suffer again, old age, disease, and death repeatedly. So the intelligent person inquires into the absolute truth. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. You know, doesn't waste the time gratifying the senses. We learn right near the beginning of Bhagavatam. Kamasin Indriya Pritir Labo Jivete Yavata. Jivasa Tattva Jigyasa Noto Yashcheya Karma Bhi. That life's desire should not be geared toward gratifying the senses. Kamasya na indriya pritya. Then what should our desires be? What should we aspire for? First of all, labo jivete yavata. One should live as simply as possible, not in any exaggerated way. Then what should we really work hard for? You know, if not for a material thing. Jivasya tattva. We should live for tattva jigyasa, to inquire into the truth of the soul, the truth of God, and relationship and everything. And narto yashcheya karmavi. Nothing else should be the object of one's works. And then it goes on to define that absolute truth. That's the great value of Bhagavatam. Vadanti tat tattvavidas. He says, those who know the truth say that ultimate truth, that absolute truth, is manifests in three forms. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Is that the effulgence, the white effulgence, you know, the Brahman Jyoti, the localized super soul in the heart, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who is that? Everything rests on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What are the qualities? That we learn from the literature, from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So that's what we should aspire for. And these verses are just Krishna saying, I'm everything valuable that you're searching for. So if you just focus on me, everything will be given to you. But if you worship the gods separately, then you'll have to deal with text 20 and 21. So let's do that right now. Try vidya mam somapa putta papa yagya ristva swargatim pratayante te punyamasar surendra lokam Ashnamti divyan divideva bhogan. Those who study the Vedas and drink the soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Purport: the word Trividya refers to the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Rig. A Brahmin who has studied these three Vedas is called the Trivedi. Anyone who is very much attached to knowledge derived from these three Vedas is respected in society. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to be the ultimate goal for the Trivedis. Actually, Trivedis take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotional service to satisfy the Lord. Devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, and side by side trying to understand Krishna in truth. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra and Chandra. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature and are thereby elevated to the higher planetary systems or heavenly planets known as Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, etc. Once situated on those higher planetary systems, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet. Sounds like a good deal. Hundreds of thousands. But it's not a good deal. Because this is part of what it means to worship Krishna indirectly. And the Vedas are known as a desire tree of knowledge. You can get any kind of knowledge you want there, and not just spiritual. There's a whole section called Karma Kanda. Kanda simply means a canto or a chapter, which deals with how to perform sacrifices for material benefits, either on this planet or even going to the higher planets. What sacrifices to perform, who to worship, what mantras to chant, so many different things. So that's Karma Kanda. Now, within those sacrifices, there's always some deference to Vishnu, chanting of Om, and so forth. But it's so indirect that it's very possible to forget all about the goal of the actual Vedas, which is to know Krishna, and think that the goal is simply to go to the heavenly planets. And that's what Krishna is describing here. They're becoming purified of their sins by drinking soma, but their desire, what is their desire? Is to go to the Svargatim. Svar is heaven, material heaven. And some of them can achieve that and enjoy these godly delights. But then he tells what happens in the next verse. Te tam go ahead.
So these karma kandis, they pursue the ultimate goal of the Vedas is to elevate to higher heaven planets. But, you know...
Karma, yes, that's what Krishna said in the second chapter. No, it makes perfect sense, because that's what people are doing now in this world. How many times do we, we're the fortunate few here, but there's only a handful, and there's many, many people who may even read the Bhagavad Gita or understand it, but it just doesn't register that it's more important to not go after sense gratification. It's just like an addict. It's just like the end of chapter 3. We don't always act on what we know to be the best thing for us. That's not a mystery. Sometimes the lower self controls the higher self. So this is the lower self. Okay, I understand Krishna's God and I'll worship him eventually, but come on, I can enjoy an Indra Loka for millions of years. After I do that, then I'll... And you forget all about it. This is what happens. When the material energy gets, you absorb yourself in it, it covers your intelligence. And Krishna consciousness seems to be theoretical. Now, for many people, Indra Loka is theoretical. And they'll just put their energy, like in the Western world. Prabhupada says, everyone is looking for Krishna. But many people don't. They don't believe in God, or they think it's just, who cares? The mode of ignorance. Many, many millions of people. But they still have some aspiration, Now here you're saying, okay, there's a way of getting to Indra Loka to enjoy, then let's do that. All right, I believe. Let's do the sacrifice. But as far as surrender goes, it goes against the grain. In other words, I have to just be a humble servant and live very simply? No. I'm on an Indra Loka, I can be a big timer, I can, enjoy for so long. Believe me, that's very easy to see how, for me, to see how that can cover someone's knowledge. For the ultimate goal for eternity, that I can live for, thousands and thousands of years, enjoying like anything on Indra Loka. A lot of people would take the latter choice. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask about it seems that like the general population today can conceive of the possibility more so of the subtle energy, even atheists. And so I was wondering like even the subtle body or the subtle energies in the world, there's still just two-dimensional people still out there, but for the most part everyone's kind of moving forward on that level. But it's still material, so I was wondering, in order to give someone a spiritual experience and not fool them that they're having a subtle material experience, a metaphysical experience, so still physical, even though it's some kind of.
Well, we have to define our terms. I mean, metaphysical is pretty close to what we call transcendental. But so the thing is, there are certain times in history when people are more interested, like they have even in America. Weren't there times when there was a revival? You remember the revival? This is in the 19th century. Suddenly there's a religious revival, and a lot of people get interested in religion, and new religions grow up, or offshoots of Christianity, basically. And then there's other times when there's an eclipse, and fewer people are interested. I mean, I think this is one of the times. Although, things are moving so fast, they don't exactly know what's going on. But the point is, there's all kinds of devious ways that you can think that you're getting the real thing, but you're not. You're really getting, as you say, some subtle material experience, and you're taking it for spiritual. I mean, during the 60s, there were all kinds of people, they were taking LSD and having all those experiences and subtle material experience. But it did have one very salutary effect, and that was it shook their faith in just the ordinary, what we call ordinary reality, which is really also a dream world. But it caused a lot of ferment and searching. And so a few of the fortunate people searched and they found Prabhupada. In fact, if you read the history, what was that? I was reading Shyama Sundar's biography. It's very fascinating. Yeah. Did you read some of it? Oh yeah, you should look at it. Because he was right in the middle of it, and he was a pretty heavy drug user too. But he was fortunate, and he met, he was good friends with Mukunda and Janaki and Yamuna. They were all like a group. They knew each other from school, And so, but he gives a really good history about what's going on at the time, and how Prabhupada came right into the middle of it, and became a major element because of his, because of Allen Ginsberg there, who was world famous, and George Harrison, So Prabhupada had credibility, and the Hare Krishnas had credibility. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of these videos that Yadabar made called "Following Srila Prabhupada." There's one describing the 1970 Rath Yatra in San Francisco, and it was like epic. You see the thousands, literally thousands, like 10,000 of what we used to call hippies. They're all marching there with Jagannath. It's huge, and Prabhupada comes, he joined the procession, and he started to dance in the middle of the whole thing. It's just there was a big impact. So that was a genuine experience. But thousands of people came, but not thousands of people actually joined Hare Krishna. Seriously, they knew a little bit about it, came in touch, But people came, and then they went back from that. I mean, I lived through the whole thing. After a certain point, the Summer of Love, 67, by the time 69 came around, the thing had all turned very gritty, because people were taking advantage of it. Instead of LSD, they were taking methamphetamine, and it got very violent, and the whole thing kind of turned. I mean, there's still a lot of spirit around there, but there was a hard edge to it also. But Prabhupada made a foothold, and the temples were there, and they founded many during that period, 68, 69, 70, 71 in the United States, and then all over the world, So the idea is that there are all kinds of things that you can get into, even just from India, worshipping this god, that god, having this into Tantra, a million different things that you can think, this is it, my spirit. But actually, Prabhupada gave the Bhagavad Gita as it is. He gave God as he really is. No one was giving that. No one could imagine that that the ultimate God is a person in all the ways that we're persons. And that he has this whole other realm with, you know, friends and cows and lovers and wives and everything. You know, that's what Prabhupada came to give. And the you know, from the Shastra, from realized knowledge. And that, you know, gearing toward that and working toward experiencing that through the proper means as given to us, that can open our hearts, you know. If you deviate, then you get something else. Krishna says, you're discussing, you mentioned about the Vedas, in chapter 2, what is that? Yamimam pushpitam vacham. It's exactly this, let's see, how does it go? I should know one of these numbers by now. But yeah. Text 39. No, text 42 to 43. Yamimam pushpitam vacham. Those of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, result in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say there is nothing more than this. So you want the thing that you're doing to be the ultimate thing, and so you create a philosophy that says that's the ultimate. This is the ultimate. It's a big mistake. Yeah. Okay, I think we should move on to Krishna book. So we will pick up on Monday. Marcy, what's the verse? 22. Or is it 21? No, 21. 21. Yeah, the result of going to the heavenly planets, you ultimately come back down. That's the failure. Okay, so we're really now going to continue with this rasa dance. And Krishna was teasing the gopis. Okay. Give me a second here. Okay. All right, so I didn't put a mark here. I think we finished that introduction. So now after Krishna, after the gopis convinced Krishna, okay, here, this is it. Okay. Dear Krishna, says the gopis, we have simply been captivated by seeing you with tilak and with earrings, and by seeing your beautiful face covered with scattered hair and bearing your extraordinary smile. Not only that, but we are also attracted by your arms, which always give assurance to the surrendered souls. And although we are also attracted by your chest, which is always embraced by the goddess of fortune, we don't wish to take her position. We shall simply be satisfied by being your maidservants. If you accuse us, however, of encouraging prostitution, then we can only ask, where is that woman within the three worlds who was not captivated by your beauty and the rhythmic songs vibrated by your transcendental flute? Within these three worlds, there is no distinction between men and women in relation to you, because both men and women belong to the marginal potency, or prakriti. No one is actually the enjoyer or the male. Everyone is meant to be enjoyed by you. There is no woman within these three worlds who can't but deviate from her path of chastity once she is attracted by you, because your beauty is so sublime that not only men and women, but also cows, birds, beasts, and even trees, fruits, and flowers, everyone and everything become enchanted, and what to speak of ourselves. It is, however, definitely decided that as Lord Vishnu is always protecting the demigods from the onslaught of demons, so you have also advented in Vrindavan, just to give the residents a protection from all kinds of distress. O dear friend of the distressed, kindly place your hand on our burning breasts as well as on our heads, because we've surrendered unto you as your eternal maidservants. If you think, however, that your lotus-like palms might be burned to ashes if placed on our burning breasts, let us assure you that your palms will feel pleasure instead of pain, just as the lotus, although very delicate and soft, enjoys the scorching heat of the sun. Upon hearing the anxious plea of the gopis, the Supreme Personality of Godhead smiled. And being very kind to the gopis, the Lord, although self-sufficient, began to embrace them and kiss them as they desired. When Krishna, smiling, looked at the faces of the gopis, the beauty of their faces became 100 times enhanced. When he was enjoying them in their midst, he appeared just like the full moon, surrounded by millions of shining stars. Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrounded by hundreds of gopis and decorated with a flower garland of many colors, began to wander within the Vrindavan forest, sometimes singing to himself and sometimes singing with the gopis. In this way, the Lord and the gopis reached the cool, sandy bank of the Yamuna, where there were lilies and lotus flowers. In such a transcendental atmosphere, the gopis and Krishna began to enjoy one another. While they were walking on the bank of the Yamuna, Krishna would sometimes put his arms around a gopi's head, breast, or waist, pinching one another and joking and looking at one another they enjoyed. When Krishna touched the bodies of the gopis, their lust to embrace him increased. They all enjoyed these pastimes. Thus the gopis were blessed with all mercy by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for they enjoyed his company without a tinge of mundane sex life. But the gopis began to feel very proud, thinking themselves to be the most fortunate women in the universe, due to being favored by the company of Krishna. Lord Krishna, who is known as Keshava, could immediately understand their pride caused by their great fortune of enjoying him personally. And in order to show them his causeless mercy and to curb their false pride, he immediately disappeared from the scene, exhibiting his opulence of renunciation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always full with 6 kinds of opulences, and this is an instance of the opulence of renunciation. This renunciation confirms Krishna's total non-attachment. He is always self-sufficient and is not dependent on anything. This is the platform on which his transcendental pastimes are enacted. Thus ends the Bhaktivinoda purport of the 29th chapter of Krishna, the Rasa Dance, Introduction. Chapter 30, Krishna hides from the gopis. When Krishna suddenly disappeared from the company of the gopis, they searched for him everywhere. After not finding him anywhere, they became afraid and almost mad after him. They were simply thinking of the pastimes of Krishna in great love and affection. Being absorbed in thought of him, and they experienced loss of memory, and with dampened eyes they began to see the very pastimes of Krishna, his beautiful talks with them, his embracing, kissing, and other activities. Being so attracted to Krishna, they imitated his dancing, his walking, and his smiling, as if they themselves were Krishna. Due to Krishna's absence, they all became crazy. Each one of them told the others that she was Krishna himself. Soon they all assembled together and chanted Krishna's name very loudly as they moved from one part of the forest to another, searching for him. Actually, Krishna is all-pervasive. He is in the sky and he is in the forest. He is within the heart and he is always everywhere. The gopis therefore began to question the trees and the plants about Krishna. There were various types of big trees and small plants in the forest, and the gopis addressed them. "Dear banyan tree, have you seen the son of Maharaj Nanda passing this way, laughing and playing on his flute? He has stolen our hearts and gone away. If you have seen him, kindly inform us which way he's gone. Dear Ashoka tree, dear Naga flower tree and Champak flower tree, have you seen the younger brother of Balaram pass this way? He's disappeared because of our pride." The gopis were aware of the reason for Krishna's sudden disappearance. They could understand that when they had been enjoying Krishna, they thought themselves to be the most fortunate women within the universe. And since they were feeling proud, Krishna had disappeared immediately just to curb their pride. Krishna doesn't like his devotees to be proud of their service to him. He accepts everyone's service, but he doesn't like one devotee to proudly consider himself better than others. If sometimes there are such feelings, Krishna ends them by changing his attitude toward the devotee. The gopis then addressed the tulsi plants. "Dear Tulsi, you are much beloved by Lord Krishna because your leaves are always at his lotus feet. Dear Malati flower, dear Mallika flower, dear Jasmine flower, all of you must have been touched by Krishna while he was passing this way after giving us transcendental enjoyment. Have you seen Madhava passing this way? O mango trees, O trees of jackfruit, O pear trees and asana trees, O blackberries and bale trees and trees of the kadamba, you are all very pious trees to be living on the bank of the Yamuna. Krishna must have passed through this way. Will you kindly let us know which way he's gone?" The gopis then looked upon the ground they were traversing and began to address the earth. Dear earthly planet, we don't know how many penances and austerities you've undergone to be now living with the footprints of Krishna upon you. You're very jolly. The hairs on your body are these jubilant trees and plants. Krishna must have been very much pleased with you. Otherwise, how could he have embraced you in the form of Varaha, the boar? When you were submerged in water, he delivered you, taking the whole weight of your existence on his tusks. After addressing the innumerable trees and plants and the earth, they turned their faces toward the beautiful deer, who were looking at them very pleasingly. Okay, we'll have to stop there. We'll pick that up on Monday. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Yes, sir.
I kind of have like a few questions.
We're going to have the RT now. Okay, maybe after.
Don't be so puffed up. I'm very serious.
But I warn you, I don't think there's any prasadam tonight. I don't think
I
there's
think Dr. Kumar went back there to keep some.
Oh, maybe reheat.
Just from
Maybe
the
reheat.
last, because there was a lot left over.
Maybe there's a thing to buy.
Jai, yeah, unfortunately.
Can you hand?
Jai, that's good.
Yes, nine.
That was an awesome class.
So you talk after about your questions, you can ask him, and we have that.
I know.
First knows he's a pilot.
I know. Yeah.
All the bullet points. All the good stuff.
Want me to take some of
Yeah.
David, can you help with this?
Yeah.
Prabhu?
Bend, no, straight. You, correct. You practice? Nah, when you practice something? Yeah. Every day. Morning. You do? Every day. Yeah. At least 20.
them.
ISKCON Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Bhagavad Gita Ashtotra Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Thank you for Holy Krishna Chaitanya Bhavanityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Go Thank you for Holy Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Radhakuram Gita Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadik Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mehi Ki Jai Yamuna Mehi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Transcendental Bhakti Spiritual Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai All glory to the Son of the devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Ranga. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya.
on, get up. We can do this.
Krishna Kirtana Ganana Kanapa
24 hours. Local
Krishna Kirtana Ganana Kanapa Premamrita Vanidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Tao Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Prabhu Premamritam Vanidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nimar Karamu Pujito Sri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhuvi Bhuva Bhara Vahantaraka Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Sri Jiva Gopalaka Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Sri Bhagavadgita Krishna Kirtana Gana Krishna Kirtana Gana Naktana Param Prema Metamani Veera Veera Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirma Pujitam Sri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhuvi Bhuva Bharava Antaraka Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghujuga Sri